Welcome to the Explainer. You ever look at someone's incredible life and think, yeah, that could never be me? Well, today we're going to break down that whole idea. We're diving into astronaut Kelly Gerardi's blueprint for turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, and it might just show you that your biggest dreams are way closer than you think.
Let's just let that sink in for a second. This isn't about being born with some kind of special, magical talent. This is the core idea for today. Being extraordinary isn't something you are, it's something you build, one step at a time. All right, so the very first step in this whole blueprint, it's all in your head. We've got to realize that we all have this self-imposed limiter on our imagination. And Kelly's going to show us exactly how to start adjusting it. So what is this limiter, really? Think of it like that little voice in the back of your head. You know the one that whispers, wow, that's amazing, for them. It's this invisible fence we build around our own potential. And half the time, we don't even realize the gate's been unlocked the whole time. And here is the absolute game changer. You are the only one applying that limit. You're the one holding the remote control. You have the power to zoom out, not just a little, but like 30, 50, even 100 times bigger. The first real step isn't about action. It's about permission. Just give yourself permission to imagine yourself in that world that inspires you. Okay, so you've adjusted your mindset. Now what? How do you actually start building this thing in the real world? Well, Kelly Gerardi's journey gives us a pretty fascinating answer. Her path to space didn't start in some high-tech lab. It started at a coat check.
Her strategy was so simple, it was brilliant. Get as close as you possibly can to the world you want to join. So she took a job checking coats at the famous Explorers Club. See, the job itself wasn't the goal. The room was the goal. It put her in the orbit of the very people she looked up to.
But look, just being in the room wasn't enough. What she did next was incredibly strategic. She literally designed her reputation. It was a three-step plan. First, she picked the words she wanted people to associate with her: responsible, thorough, professional. Then, she engineered every single action she took to back up those words. And here it is. This is the amazing result of that 10-year strategy. Her commitment to being excellent, even in a job people might overlook, it just compounded over time. In a decade, she went from taking coats to taking a seat on the board of directors. Of course, chasing these huge dreams, it's never a straight line, is it? It gets messy, it gets complicated, especially when you're trying to balance all that ambition with family and you're facing criticism from the outside. As a mother literally reaching for the stars, Kelly faced this really unique and, frankly, deeply unfair type of criticism. It just exposes this frustrating double standard in our society, right? We tell little girls they can be anything, right up until they become moms. So to manage this intense juggling act, she uses this really powerful mental framework. Life is all about juggling a bunch of balls. Some of them are made of glass. These are the fragile, irreplaceable things like your family's health or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But others are plastic. They're still important, but if you drop one, it'll bounce back. The whole trick is knowing which is which. So after all that, right, after the hard work, the building of a reputation, the constant juggling, what's the ultimate reward? Well, it turns out it's way more than just ticking a box on a to-do list. The real payoff wasn't just about the achievement. Seeing our planet from orbit, she calls it a forced perspective shift. It was this instant, humbling, awe-inspiring moment that just recalibrated her entire place in the universe. That single, powerful image became her new mental screensaver. So whenever the small stuff started to feel overwhelming, she could just call up that view. It was the ultimate visual reminder that most of our daily worries are just tiny little specks on a beautiful blue marble floating in space. It unlocked this deep and lasting sense of peace. Which brings us to, honestly, the most important part of this whole blueprint: how you can take this exact mindset and apply it directly to your own life, like starting today. Because the second you try to dream bigger, the moment you try to adjust that limiter we talked about, you know who's going to show up, right? That inner critic. And it's going to have a whole laundry list of reasons why you can't, why you aren't ready, and why it's not for you. The secret here is to actively rewrite that inner script. You have to catch those dead-end thoughts and flip them into questions that actually move you forward. So, I'm not qualified becomes, okay, how can I get qualified? What if I fail turns into a declaration? You know what? I'm willing to fail more. And the biggest one of all, that's for extraordinary people, becomes the most powerful question there is. Why not me? So really, it all comes back to this one simple, powerful idea. The very first action you can take, literally right now, is to just give yourself permission. Permission to reach just a little bit higher than you did yesterday. Permission to look beyond that comfortable horizon you're used to. And so we'll leave you with this question to really think about. Based on this entire blueprint, what is the one big, audacious, maybe even scary dream that you'll finally give yourself permission to chase starting right now?